Welcome to the Redefining Sales podcast. My name's Abbie White. We are continuing with our mini IT series, and this week we have Phil Cameron, Managing Director of Westcon-Comstor, obviously one of the largest and most well-known distributors in Australia. We're going to be asking Phil what he thinks are the significant growth opportunities in the IT industry for 2022, how sales and marketing can support those. We're also going to be getting Phil's insights from his unique position of seeing both what the vendors want, what channel partners want, and so on. So we're going to be tapping into that and understanding a little bit more about what vendors and partners are both looking for to drive growth in 2022. By way of background, prior to Westcon, Phil was at IBM and ran the business partner organization. And that is where I first met Phil when I was working alongside him as national sales manager for the System X business at the time. So you will hear some friendly banter between Phil and I from our IBM days. Now, if that wasn't enough, finding out about growth opportunities and where the industry is heading, you're also going to learn if Phil was a biscuit, what type of biscuit would he be, which I know all of us in the industry have been dying to find out. So sit back, tune in, and enjoy this week's episode. Welcome to the Redefining Sales podcast and our mini IT series. This week we have the amazing Phil Cameron with us, who is hands down one of my favorite people in the industry. And I'm smiling so much because I'm laughing at everything we've just been talking about before we came on air. Welcome, Phil.
Abbie, it's great to be here.
We're having a little mini reunion before we went live. So I'm jumping straight in with our quick fire round. The first thing I want to ask you about is we're now a quarter into 2022. So we're starting to see how things are shaping up, how it's looking. Within the IT industry, what do you think some of the growth opportunities are going to be for this year?
Hi, Abbie. It's great to be here. I think what we're going to see, right, is a continuation of last year into this year. Last year was a good year for the industry. It's good, solid growth. We saw us in 2021 coming out of companies just kind of trying to survive and keep running in the COVID world. And then the second year into that, so a lot of IT spend was all around just keeping IT going, IT running. And then it's kind of moved into modernizing and refreshing their technology because they realized they weren't either competitive or behind as everyone went remote, customers went remote, etc. And also then the third element was exposure around security and compliance and risk and everything in the IT part of that. So we see those three IT priorities continuing in 2022. And we see that demand continuing, strong demand, double-digit growth. The vendors we're speaking to, the partners we're speaking to, are really seeing that top-line revenue growth. There will be pressures on costs, which will have pressures on net profits or EBITDA because everyone's costs are going up because the skill shortage, people paying more for staff. Our industry is famous of just pinching staff from each other, and across vendors, partners, disties, we've all got open roles. We're all trying to find access to skills. So people paying more, so that has profit challenges on the profit. So really strong demand, but everyone's on their toes in regards to driving, watching the bottom line.
Yeah, so interesting. I'm seeing so much movement at the moment of people leaving, joining other companies. Yeah. The whole Great Resignation seems to really have pace.
Yeah, it's not really. I see it as the great change. Something great change. You see it in your friends, you see it in colleagues, you see it, amongst the industry and all that sort of stuff. We haven't seen this before, right? Yeah. And it is driving up cost, etc. And at the same time, spending will continue to evolve. So just leading into your first question, what's really outside those three IT priorities, security is really going to continue to drive that. And that modernising technologies all around that digital transformation and major projects happening out there, that everything involves IT. And then probably the third element of that spending as it evolves is around the customer experience. What's that experience like? Buying and engaging, and we know everything. The platforms are all IT. It's the industry we're in. So that will just continue to drive. And we're in an app world, right? And partners' opportunity around app services is massive, right? So we see that continuing as well.
That's a good one. That's a good one to call. Yeah, I agree. So I'm curious, before you just mentioned about vendors, partners, and conversations you're having there.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're in quite a unique position because you get to see both sides of the fence. I guess if we start with vendors, what do you think for 2022? What do you think vendors want to see from partners, like going that way in terms of driving growth?
Yeah. So partners, based on what I was talking about, security and digital technology, digital transformation and all that, vendors will still want to. It's interesting watching the vendors. Some vendors want more partners to go after certain industries or certain marketplaces. So you'll see vendors really wanting new partners, new logos or new customers. So that will drive that. In the flip of that, partners will be considering the same thing from a vendors. Do I have the right vendors for my fit to be able to go chase new customers, and in new industries as such, in a managed serviced world? So vendors ask on the partners will be very much around that the partners are driving demand generation programs to fuel that pipeline of opportunities, and that the vendors would like to work closer with the partner for joint engagements. So definitely joint engagements, and we're seeing a lot of that, and we help our partners do those joint engagements, for example. So very much around that. And then to be able to support that is the pre-sale support, is the sort support there to be able to help that for quick responsiveness. So hasn't changed much when we work together, Abbie, in regards to new partners, new customers, and all that sort of stuff. But it's probably a little bit more sophisticated now.
Yeah. Hey, we were sophisticated.
We didn't. It was just work and grunt. You know that.
It was bloody hard work. I actually said before we came on air, I'm going to throw Phil under the bus. I think Phil is the person in my career who has made me work the hardest out of anybody I know to earn respect. You can't just walk in and have respect. I had to really work for it and earn it. So yeah, it was definitely hard work.
As you know, it is hard work, and it's no fluke, out there as well. And we'll talk about that hopefully later on through the podcast around, the outcomes we're getting is not a fluke, but we'll talk about that hopefully later on.
Yeah, I'd love to. Before we talk about that, I actually want to flip the question. So you've just done sort of the vendor. What about the partner side? What are you seeing sort of that partners are going to be demanding and asking of vendors to support their growth and to help grow their business?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same actually. So the partners ask on the vendors in regards to, again, help for more demand generation in regards to running end user webinars and sessions and everything like that. So it's a flip of what it's actually probably similar, which shows good alignment which actually shows good alignment. And the partners on the vendors want to be able to do that joint engagement together, because they want to be able to convince their customer around the technology of that vendor, right? So we're looking at that, and that they've got the support, and that the vendor is actually providing a solution-based approach rather than just a product approach. It's very much a customer outcome. Yeah. So
yeah, we're seeing that one a lot. The campaigns we're working on that are solution-based, very, very, very customer-centric, are being hugely successful. The ones where, people want to talk more product, far more challenging.
Yeah. The partners are wanting the vendors to better understand their businesses and thing like that. So it's just not a sell to, sort of arrangement. So they better understand their business, and therefore Everyone's been investing in deeper skills of the relevant solution, so they want to be able to assistance on that, and therefore the partner's able to offer a better end-to-end solution as well, and vendor help for that. And the role of us, for example, can help them with that, and we are doing that because we've got those deep vendor skills.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm intrigued then, obviously, you know, my bag is sales and marketing. So I'm intrigued how you've talked about all different kinds of growth opportunities. You've talked about growth opportunities in the market and around certain segments like security. You've talked about there with vendor and partner, there being opportunities for demand gen and fill the pipeline. How do you think sales and marketing can support, drive the growth and really turbocharge the growth for 2022?
Yeah, good question. This is where it is probably a bit more sophisticated than the good old days, Abbie. And
I'm not more sophisticated.
You are definitely, definitely. The in regards to the alignment between sales and marketing first is critical, and it's a lot more targeted marketing rather than the spray and pray approach. Hence, businesses like your own, right? It's a lot more targeted in regards to that, and the use of data, because we've got so much data now around our data intelligence and such. We're able to use that in a far more smarter way or sophisticated way of being more pinpoint target marketing. We'll get, the outcomes will be better, the ROI will be better. So it's very much like that. And I look at our marketing team, and we've doubled our marketing team in the last 12 months. We'll continue to investment there because the need is there. The vendors are wanting help there, and also the partners. Partners really like a very targeted, whether that's an industry approach or whether that's their customer segmentation approach. Through that process of the engagement, you engage, and then you develop the opportunity, and then you grow, and you're selling more things to those customers. So that will we see that opportunity as well. So a good opportunity for companies like yourself.
Yes, we like it. And I'm really curious around you specifically, because I'll be nice and give you a compliment. I know I don't often give you a compliment, but I will. When I had a meeting with your team, they turned up, and sales and marketing both turned up in the room. Now that is really rare. You have no idea how rare that is for me, because often I often feel like the marriage counselor between sales and marketing, and I'm dealing with this divorced couple. So I do believe a lot of that comes from the top and from leadership. And I will say that, I love your leadership. I love the cultures you create. So how do you, to do everything you just talked about in the previous question, you've got to have alignment between sales and marketing. If they don't talk, if they don't come to meetings, you can't do it. So I've witnessed in action, Westcon and yourself doing that really well. How do you do it?
Well, it's interesting. It's good to hear that feedback. Look, I moved into this role 4 years ago, and the first thing we had to do was be structured for success. And when we say structured for success, it's not just sales and not just marketing, but it's all the other parts of the business to be able to support the business in regards to sales operation, our customer segmentation, our finance, our logistics, all those sort of areas, our quoting team, our pre-sales team, our solution architects. So we had to build the right structure. And so the first thing was the leadership team, right? Creating that right leadership team. So there was real alignment between the leadership team, and we redrove, leave the ego at the door. This is all about the outcome, not about the individual's performance as such and the team performance. And then it was high transparency in regards to what do we want to achieve here? What are our KPIs? And we've got common ones across the business. And then it was all about high performance of each one of those areas. It wasn't just that, right? It's the high performance. So we've built a fantastic leadership team across those areas I talked about. And we've all got that common alignment. We meet on a regular basis. We communicate. I do a monthly all hands to the business, did yesterday's. So I'm really transparent on what I think we're doing well and areas that we could lift our game in. Really transparent. People come into the business go, wow, I've got a way better understanding how our business is run, and I share our P&L and I explain that in very elementary ways. Then it's the culture and the environment that we set. That's the really, really important. People feel trusted, they're empowered, and they feel comfortable that everyone's got each other's back. So, we've worked really hard on that. And that empowerment and delegation of authority to just make decisions. Like, I get bored because they're all doing the work. You know what I mean? That's not true, but you know what I mean? They're all doing the work. And
are you on the golf course? I think I saw a LinkedIn post of you on the golf course. Is that where you are?
I was with the IT for a Cause, which was a great fundraising event. David Alahada set it up a few years back, and it was really, really important. And because it's really, really important we do give back. Really important we give back. But I don't play golf like I used to when I was at IBM, let me tell you, Abbie. Don't have that time. Don't really have that time. So, so the sales and marketing is so critical. They share the numbers, in regards to that, and how they come together and everything. And I'm really pleased to hear that you see that. Our customer engagement, our customer success metrics show that that's working. Just recently from ARN Edge, and that was the feedback from the partners. I was really proud to be able to hear all the stuff from the partners that, because I went and saw about 20 odd partners, how we're engaging, how we're supporting a business, and it was just consistently really strong. So I was really, really proud of that, which I shared to the team yesterday. And of course, I share my fun photos too. And
of course you do. So you hit on something in that. You hit on something there that I really love. You started talking about high performance, how you're creating a high performance culture. As you kind of alluded to before as well, IT is a hard industry, it's a hard game. Yeah. And so I have to ask you to sort of build on that around how do you build, in particular, high performance sales in IT?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it reflects back to what I said, but we drive accountability. Everyone knows the role. Everyone really is clear on the role that they play, and they need to be accountable for that role, and they need to be able to stand up in that way, but support each other. So really, that accountability is really, really important. People want to be successful, right? People generally want to be successful, and people generally want to do a good job, right? So you have got to create the environment to do that. But at the end of the day, people's feet have to hit the ground first thing in the morning and want to go, go, go. And no matter which way they operate, and allow them to do that, and they feel safe and they're trusted to do that. So, but high performance, is that drive that comes within, as you know. You've either got that or you don't have that, right? And that's all about the individual's behaviour as well, because you create all those other elements I talked about, then the individual drive and accountability, and I think you'll have a good, successful outcome for that.
Yeah. Well, I have always found you to be in and around high performance teams, so that is a good answer. So the final question I want to ask you is, if there's just one thing, we've talked about so many different areas here in this conversation around driving growth for the sort of rest of the year of 2022. If there was just one thing you could do to drive growth, what would it be?
Empowerment of people just to make decisions and have confidence of that decision making, and just do it, right? I was thinking about what you're going to ask me, and structure's critical. The one thing though is empowerment, definitely empowerment. You give people the tools and everything, and that clarity on their role, and the transparency of the numbers and performance and how we're going. But if you give them the empowerment to really drive and grow, for them to grow, then I think that's the most important thing, empowerment.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Phil Cameron. We managed to even get in a bit of banter and a bit of jokes.
Can't
So
we
thank
just
you for
keep going? This is the best thing I've done all day. Can't we just get going?
Oh yeah. So we can tell everyone, if you were gonna be a biscuit, what kind of biscuit would you be?
I'll be a Tim Tam.
Why would you be a Tim Tam?
Sweet and soft and nice on the out, but no, Tim Tam's hard on the outside, but soft in the middle, right? And it's got a good taste. And it's got a good taste. And I rarely have them. But when I have them, I love them.
Well, we'll have to do a part 2 because you're right.
I,
We could probably keep going for hours.
Yeah, no, thanks very much. And thank you for making me wear a collared shirt today on a Friday. I'm loving it. And it's fantastic to see you, Abbie. Congratulations on such a good business you've built. And I'm really, really happy to see your success.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. And it means even more that you wore a shirt, especially for me. I feel like that is a career highlight.
I ironed it. Yeah.
Wow. No, we're impressed. And everyone viewing and watching is also impressed by the ironed shirt on a Friday. Yeah. It's up in your standards and up in the game.
I haven't cleaned the graffiti behind me on the wall there that I write on. I got rid of mine. Yeah, I even cleaned that up for you.
We're impressed. I'm grateful.
Well,
Thanks for joining us, Phil.
See ya. Bye.